Welcome back to the weekly news roundup and the Linux edition. A little short today. We had a few articles. I threw a few of them out, and then as I started reading the articles, I had to throw a few more out, and we're just down to 3. But hey, there are 3 really good ones, and there are 3 fairly relevant ones. So we'll go ahead and see what Linux has to do. Most of these are Flatpak related. So Flatpak had a escalation bug that allowed applications to break out of the sandboxing. And this had to do with utilizing the command and passing parameters. And this was a bug that allowed you to break out of the sandbox that is supposed to keep Flatpaks from accessing anything else on the system. And so this ended up being patched in 1.14.6 or newer, 1.12.9 or newer, 1.10.9 or newer. And basically anything wanting to update 1.15 is 1.15.8 or newer. So if you are running Flatpak, the main application itself, check the version number. And if you have that, you might want to go ahead and make sure you are patched. As of last night, Linux Mint sadly was still not patched. And the forums, though, indicated that this is up to Ubuntu to release. So Ubuntu is usually pretty good at releasing things, but hey, it's Flatpak, and they don't seem to care about Flatpak, so I don't know what's going to happen here. LMDE, Debian has already patched this, so LMDE, if you're running that version of Linux Mint, that is patched. And I did not check other versions, but presumably most of your other versions are going to be patched already. Of course, Ubuntu just released the LTS, so they might have been busy with that. They are pretty good at security patches, so they'll probably get that out here in the next day or so. So if you see another update for Flatpak, that would happen to be what the update is going to do. But this is one it's major enough because an application should not be able to access system files was able to access system files by passing a command through the command parameter of a Flatpak. So just be aware of that. The other thing is Flatpak has released its brand new website. And their new website is starting to look more like the GNOME store, which is terrifying. Of course, GNOME and Flatpak do a lot of work together. And so that is probably to be expected, but okay. They do have a lot of good, positive things on here, and they have a few things that are like, why'd you do that? So let's go ahead and have a brief look. This is the actual new website here. Now, they are doing a few different apps up at the top, which are basically going to rotate. I can't say that word here on the Tubies. They're going to rotate their different applications. Some of the apps like this one here that they're pushing is interesting. This is one of the ones I wanted to point out because this is an unverified app. Now, remember the verified tag, the new verified tag verifies that the person who has uploaded the application to Flathub is the one who has created the application itself. And so unverified means that whoever uploaded this podcast application is not the original person who developed the application. So that's what verified versus unverified means in this circumstance. So this particular one is interesting because it's unverified, but it says probably safe because it requires network access. But I don't know, because does this actually download episodes to save them on your disk and play them later? Or does it stream everything directly from the cloud? And that the reason we bring this question up is if you look at other applications, even very popular ones like LibreOffice, you can see this is verified, and they have potentially unsafe because it has read-write access to the system. In other words, you can save files to the system. Basically to your home folders and things like that. So presumably the podcast app one can. So I think that this safe and unsafe and potentially unsafe flag, I think this needs some serious work. I think this is a dangerous thing. That being said, the website is really good in that you can sort out by a number of different things. What is trending? What is popular? Google Chrome. Ugh. Why is that popular? Anyway, we have what is new and what is updated. And so you can see that you can sort by a number of different things. That is all really good. And then it's sorted out by different types of things, your education, your audio, video, your productivity, and things like that. And so with this, the new build here is pretty good. You can come down here and you see the install button. If your system is set up in such a way that you have something like the GNOME software store or some other application that can read the Flatpak file, clicking this button will load the Flatpak up. In fact, it might do that here on Linux Mint. I haven't tested it, and I'm not going to test it on the live stream. But if you pull down the arrow here, you will get the command that you need to install it on the system. This is assuming, of course, that you have Flatpak set up on your system and you have Flathub as a Flatpak repository. So make sure you meet those two requirements, and then they will give you the commands over here to run it or to install it in your system. So overall, this is really good. It does tell us our download size, number of installs, the available architectures. So you can see here that Brave, we have AArch64, which is an ARM, and we have 64-bit Intel, and the total installed size is about 376. And but you can see that nearly everything in here is flagged as potentially unsafe if it can save a file to the drive. So that's why I think that this tag is really useless, because we're talking about applications that are simply saving files to your home folder. You know, that's not potentially unsafe necessarily. But it's like, other than that podcast, which is an unverified app, everything I'm clicking on actually says potentially unsafe. The only application I have found just randomly clicking through this is potentially safe is the unverified app. So I think that Flathub does have a little bit more work to do. Hopefully they take this with the positive criticism that it happens to be. But it is overall a really good job on updating the site. I think it's a great improvement. And on to our last story here in Linux is Gentoo bans AI-created contributions. This is, of course, as we all know, the reason for this is because Gentoo does not want to do anything easy, and AI might simplify your life, and therefore it is banned. No, that's not the reason. So the people who proposed this listed three broad areas of concern. Number one is copyrights, number two is quality, and number three is ethics. And these were all really good, well-thought ideas. Copyrights, because large language models are trained on a variety of source code, and a lot of people are suing these large language models saying, hey, you're not allowed to use our data for training your thing that you're using to make a lot of money on. And so what they're saying is, if somebody's trying to do something and they're just asking an AI to spit out code, that code might be part of a copyrighted project and they don't know it. So it's going to open them up to a potential issue if they, 5 years down the road, somebody says, hey, our copyrighted information is here because it was put in there by ChatGPT. And so that's our first issue. Second is quality, where a lot of people, I mean, not everybody, but most people, I'm going to throw the most out there. I'm going to say it's that 20-80 rule. I think that 20% of people are using AI responsibly and 80% are seeing what in the world they can get out of it. If you do not believe that, go watch that Willy Wonka Adventureland thing that happened over there in Scotland and just change my mind, okay? But that was just a guy utilizing AI to see how much money he could make as quickly as he could. There's other things I can say about that program, but hey, we're going to stay on the Linux news. So the point being is that people who are relying so much on this just to get something done, they may not check their work over as much, resulting in lower quality code. And then third is the ethics, and the ethics surrounds the use of all of this otherwise copyrighted and all of these lawsuits coming up where people are suing the large language models for using all their stuff to train their data sets and saying, hey, this is probably just not ethical use of technology. And on those reasons, the Gentoo teams proposed this, and overwhelmingly people were in support of this, but they do admit it's not really seriously enforceable, but they did say that if they see contributors doing a lot of things that they kind of flag themselves as being maybe low quality or maybe simple mistakes that a computer might make that a human might not make, they're going to start asking a lot of questions and verify that AI is not being used. So ultimately, they're asking, is this necessary? Because there's already some rulings about things. And they're basically saying, we are reiterating in this time of AI where everyone's trying to do all this AI stuff, we don't want AI contributions made to the Gentoo core. We want to make the contributions done by humans. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is this does not apply to things being pushed upstream. So if you're repairing something upstream and it comes down, that's perfectly fine. It's just if you're building something explicitly for Gentoo, they do not want you using AI for that. I tend to agree with this overall stance. Now, of course, you can find all of the articles linked in the show notes, and this comes from the LWN Net newsletter. So if you like this is a really good read, really good detail. If you are interested in this type of thing, you didn't know it existed, go ahead and click the link for this, and there's a trial there. I don't get anything for that. I'm just pointing it out that this came from a newsletter, which you can get, and I believe it's probably a subscription fee to get it. But hey, that's good for people that want this level of good quality news. So go check that out. That is linked in the show notes. If you'd like to help support the channel, we do use various supporter networks. Today we are highlighting Subscribestar over here on the Linux News, subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux. You can jump on over there, just help support the channel with any amount. You can help join in on the Thursday shows. And we also do an off-air hangout. And you can also come over here, and we do have audiobooks and the audiobooks and the short stories for the once a month. We're doing a short science fiction short story. You can download all those for any amount over on the supporter networks, subscribestar.com/switchedtolinux, or Locals or Patreon. Those are linked in the show notes as well. With that, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.